Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, let's dissect the broke person's thought patterns and ways they view money, career, and everything involved. So, I've been talking a lot about people who aren't doing well financially, like how they operate in life, but I've actually figured out a couple of more things and really thought about some other key factors that contribute to their lack of having money and lack of having any real financial success to any degree. And what I've come to realize is that one of the main contributors to broke people's predicament and continuous struggle is they just, one thing is I realize is there most people are in a state of fear, right? And out of that state of fear, what stems from that in terms of career and business and in just general opportunities that are available? People shun away from them, right? And fear is associated with like, what if I don't succeed in this thing, or what if I go try this and it doesn't work out, or what if I discover this side hustle and it doesn't end up being something that I can do, or what if I'm not good at it, right? So one of the things that limits broke people's ability to make money, right? Not only keep money but make money, right? The earning problem is that they just want to stay where they are and not take on things that would require more of them. And unfortunately speaking, like the things that pay the best or the things that yield the greatest reward have the most, not all in all cases, but for the most part, have the steepest learning curve. And some things just require you to learn. And you have to learn sometimes through mistakes. You know what a perfect example of learning through mistakes that I'm working through right now is learning how to day trade, right? There is such a learning curve to learning how to day trade, right? Now you think it's simple, right? But when you actually, start day trading, you'll realize, oh shit, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, right? Like I'm going into trading thinking I know so much, and the mistakes I make, I'm able to realize and obviously, you know that okay, I can't do that, and I can't, I just can't make that mistake again. Like I have to do something different, right? But the point being is that things that yield a great result require you to use all of the potential that is deep buried within you that can rise to the surface if you decide that you want to go through the process of growing in whatever career, field, industry, or hustle that you find you want to start or partake in. So the comfort that comes with a stable paycheck is what keeps people stuck, right? Because the thing is whether we realize it or not, right? We're all seeking security, right? I'm seeking security, you're seeking security. Everybody on this planet is seeking some form of security, right? Whether financially, whether through other people, whatever it is. So when you're getting a paycheck every week, right? Even though you might want to be successful, or even though you have this want for more, right? That paycheck that you're getting every week reinforces the comfort that you're currently in, right? And unfortunately speaking, most people don't look at their current job situation as something like, hey, like this is something that's just keeping me stuck. Most people just look at it like, hey, I get my 40 50 hours, I collect my check and I go, right? But if you want more, I'm telling you that you're going to have to learn different, that you're going to have to expand your mind. You're going to have to see that there's more opportunity than the one thing that you're doing right now. And you're going to have to be willing to go through a process that sometimes might be uncomfortable, right? Like perfect example before, like trading, right? Like knowing, like for me, my biggest problem right now with trading is I actually don't have an issue getting in the right trades. Like like if I do a call, right? Like most of the time it goes up and I make money. My biggest issue is taking profit, right? Like if I see that my call generates like a 20 to 30% return, right? Sometimes, right? And just out of, I don't know if it's greed or I don't know if it's out of, false expectations, but I just watch it go. And unfortunately, sometimes it goes to the other way, and now I end up losing money when I was in a profitable situation. So, yeah, and again, that's just one example. There's countless other examples when it comes to trading that I can, you know, talk about, but that's the idea. Like, I have to learn to be able to realize that I can't keep making those mistakes, or else I'm not going to be profitable, right? So most people just aren't willing. And again, you can apply it to trading, you can apply it to sales, you can apply it to like literally anything else you want to learn. You can apply it to your school, or the business that you're working on, anything that you're doing, right? Like, you have to realize, oh shit, like, I can't just be comfortable. I can't just clock in, show up to work, go home and be okay, right? Because, like, for example, let's put it this way. I really figured it out. When you go to work, right? No matter what, like, if you don't perform, right? Like, I mean, obviously, if you are doing like a horrible job and it's noticeable, like, yeah, you'll probably get fired. But you could have the most mediocre performance. You could do the bare minimum and still skate by at a job and still collect your check. Unfortunately speaking, with, different careers and different side hustles that, require more of you, you can't just show up, right? Like, yeah, okay, showing up is obviously part of the process, right, in the beginning, right? And obviously being consistent is an aspect of that. But you have to get better, because the results come as you get better. And part of getting better is what? Learning from the mistakes that you'll inevitably make. So, like I said, going to a job, right, and knowing that if you don't make a single mistake, you'll still get paid. That is the trap. That is the trap, because now, if you realize that growth it can get stifled and you'll still get paid, right? That's kind of like a crutch on you in a way, because that gives you the sense, oh, I don't need to do shit. If I just show up and do my 8 hours and, do like, just the tasks that need to be done, and I know that on Friday I'm going to get paid, I'm good. I don't have to do shit. See, that's the trap. That's what's keeping most people stuck, right? And then the paycheck just reinforces that every week. You're like, oh shit, I got paid, right? You could have had the worst week ever. You could have done the bare minimum. You could have not learned a single damn thing in your job, and you'll still get paid the same. Unfortunately speaking, with side hustles and businesses and, learning how to invest properly, that's not the case. You have to learn certain things that you're just not going to be able to learn in a 9 to 5 job unless you choose to, obviously, right? So it's basically do or die when you're on your own and you're doing other, you're seeking out other opportunities, that are, outside of your main income. And another thing as well, what I've noticed is, and this isn't always, but I would just say, average people, broke to average, right? This kind of group of people, they put so much emphasis on their job. Like, they put so much energy into their job. And there's nothing wrong with, wanting more out of your main income, right? But the problem is that most people think that their promotion, their raise, or their continuous career growth in one single job is going to contribute to a financially free life, right? Like, I know people right now, they're in their 40s and 50s in like the company I work for, and they're making great money, but guess what? They still have to clock in, right? And I know people who have not even made close to that amount of money, but knew how to invest, knew how to live below their means, right? Learn things on the side, and now they live a free life, right? So, let me ask you a question. And this isn't always the case, but I'm just trying to make sense of I'm trying to give you an example of how I'm trying to make sense of this, right? If you were to choose one of two paths, tell me which one you choose. And I think I know the answer, but I'm just gonna I'll just lay it out right now. Would you rather make $300,000 a year at a job, right? Let's say in a corporate role or something, right? And you work between 30 and 40 hours a week, right? But you still have to show up to work, right? You still have a whole bunch of bills. You have a car payment, right? You have, you have a G-Wagon. You have an expensive mansion. Or would you rather make $100,000 a year from your stocks, from your business, from whatever you do, from your passive income, forms of passive income, from whatever side hustles you're doing or main source of business revenue that you generate? Would you rather make that money and live a life where you don't have all those expensive things, don't have all the mansions, don't have not even obviously the mansions and all those expensive things, but status too? Like a lot of people just I notice they want to move up in their jobs because they just want to feel important, right? So anyways, going back to my point, would you rather have that lifestyle where, yeah, maybe you make $200,000 less a year, but guess what? You're working on something you want to work on, or maybe you don't even have to work. Maybe you just generate money, again, from your trades, from your passive incomes, through your real estate, through maybe you have money that you made in a bull cycle and you're able to live off that. Let's say you made $1 million over 2 bull cycles, right? Now, maybe you don't even make 100,000. Maybe you make 30, 40,000 working a part-time job. But guess what? You're able to live off $1 million. You have $1 million in savings. And let's say with that $1 million, you're able to reinvest it and just live off your reinvested money that you're able to generate, that you're able to use to sustain you. So I'm just trying to give you guys some examples and some things that you should consider when it comes to analyzing financial freedom and seeing why there's not a one cut path to a successful life, right? Like success is very subjective. Well, it's not subjective. Obviously, it means different things to different people. But I would say that for the most part, the people watching me and watching other creators, we obviously think along the same lines, where the freedom that comes from, the investments or the business or the side hustles that, we're working at consistently, right? That is a better outcome. That is a better, way of going about things than putting all of your emphasis and all of your energy and all of your hopes and expectations into your job, right? Like that is scary. Like I think about it now, like putting all of my energy into a job, right? Not only could they lay me off or go out of business or experience a tough, turbulent time financially, right? But let's say you spend 3 years hoping for a promotion, right? And you spend all your time, all of your energy, right? 3-4 years trying to like make it in the business and corporate world, or trying to make it in corporate America, right? And 3 or 4 years, right? They're leading you on. They're saying, yeah, just another year, just another 6 months, right? You'll figure it out, right? We'll keep you on the radar, right? Or we're just working things out. And then guess what? 3 to 4 years, either they go bankrupt, or hey, guess what? Someone else gets promoted, right? Now, if you were smart, right, you would, I'm not saying not want to get promoted. If you want to get promoted, that's fine. But instead of spending those 3 to 4 years just solely locking all of your energy into that one outlet, right? Why don't you spend the extra hours that you have after work, right? Where you have time to figure other things out. Why don't you spend that time working, right? And it could be as simple as, and I talk about this a lot, and it's very practical. It could just be as simple as working extra hours in another job or in a side hustle that you can do, right? So that you're able to invest money so that eventually you can live off that income and grow that income without having to work for it, because you already did the legwork, right? But so many people get trapped and think that the only way to make more money is through their one source of primary employment. And unfortunately speaking, right, again, it's possible. But again, what do you want to do? Do you want to retire in 5 to 10 years, or do you want to retire in 30 to 40 years? I'll take the 5 to 10 year frame any day over 30 to 40 years, right? And guess what? I'd be willing to work twice the amount in a 5 to 10 year span to make it happen than just hope and just continue to ride this corporate ladder scheme over a 30 to 40 year time span, right? That's how people stay broke. Not stay broke. Obviously, you can be financially secure and stable, but that's how people stay like stuck in the rat race, stuck in the employment game, right? Unable to venture into something, whether it's creatively, whether it's entrepreneurial, or whether it's just, again, minimalism or just living on your own, without having to, again, answer to someone, show up to something that is undesirable, right? So, yeah, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.